I'm Jim Monaghan here on the Jersey Magazine. My guest this morning is the CEO for Morris Habitat for Humanity, Blair Schleicher Wilson. Welcome to DHA. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I know you are in need of volunteers for something very special that you're doing at the crossings in Randolph. Tell our listeners about that, Blair.
Well, it's a huge SOS. We're trying to bring 25 families into home ownership, 25 families who are most paying 50% of their income on rent or can't find an affordable place to live. They're doubling up, and we're giving them the opportunity for home ownership. So we're building 25 homes in 4 buildings, they're condos, in Randolph on Bennett Avenue. And we're trying to finish 2 of the buildings. That's for 13 families. The other 2 will be finished either later this year or early next year. So we could use volunteers. And if people think, oh, it's too cold, it's not, because we have warming centers. We've got propane heat and microwaves, so you can make hot chocolate and coffee. And of course, the warmness of the good feeling of your heart when you're working to help people get into their homes. That's priceless.
And I'll keep my fingers crossed here. We've had a relatively mild winter so far, a few single digit days, but for the most part, it's been relatively mild. So I don't know if the temperature is really enough of a factor for somebody to say, I don't think so this time.
No. Come on out, because you're inside. We're painting. One of the buildings we're insulating. We'll be sheetrocking. We're painting. We're doing trim work. The cabinets are going to be in on one of the buildings, and so there's all that finish work. So it's all indoors, and we've got propane heaters until the heat comes on, which should be probably in the next few weeks. And so so it's warm in there. It's not cold.
What kind of skills do your volunteers need to have, if any?
2, okay? A pulse and a smile. That's it. A pulse and a smile. We'll teach you everything. Seriously. People come out of all different skill types. Of course, we love folks who have, they've got skills, and we'll put you to work. We might even have you lead a group if you're comfortable. But people like me who say, oh, I'm much better, texting, we'll find a job for you too. So, everybody has a talent.
Having done some work around my own home, I can tell you that the thing that daunts me the most is when I'm trying to spackle with sheetrock. Don't mind putting the sheetrock up, can do some weird woodwork, but once it comes to spackle, and if you get somebody who's really good at it, it's just whoosh, 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 and it's done. And me, I'm sanding it for hours, Blair, to get it nice and smooth.
Well, I will tell you, we actually hire contractors for spackling for that very reason. There's more of us who are like that, that try hard, heart in the right place, but.
What is the housing situation like here in Morris County?
The housing situation in Morris County is terrible. Try to find rental. I had a friend recently who's has a decent income, trying to find a rental, 1 bedroom. This is not somebody who's income eligible, somebody who's not low income. Could not find anything below really $2,800 a month. That's crazy. And then if you're in a high rise, you have to pay extra for parking. Now, let's just suppose it's your admin or your retail folks, your restaurant workers. They really have a hard time. We estimate in New Jersey that there's a 200,000 gap in affordable housing need. 200,000 units. I mean, where does that come from? In Morris County, it's somewhere around 40 to 50,000 units that are needed. And so what we're trying to do is put a dent in that with homeownership, moving people up the continuum. If they're in public housing, move them out into homeownership, freeing up those rental spaces. Really, what's out there is not a lot for folks making, with incomes of 40, 50, 60,000 a year.
And when you are able to move someone up, as you say, what's that experience like for both you and them? Because I would imagine it has to be very gratifying for you, but what is that like on both ends?
It's, for both of us, it's great because we give people the tools. We teach people like we teach the volunteers. Nobody wants a handout. They want to know that they pay for their house because we sell the house. They go through homeownership education. We teach them about budget and credit counseling. The one big difference is they don't have the down payment. 20% down now, even 3% down. So we ask them to do sweat equity in their house. But a lot of people would say, I'd rather write a check because at 400 hours, yeah, I'd say try to do that with a family and a job. And they're doing that because they now know they know where everything is. We're teaching them how to, how to pull wire and how to not spackle, but paint and tile and put floor in and frame and so forth. And then they know where everything is. It's like anybody, if you build anything, you're going to take better care of that. You're going to make sure you're paying your mortgage because you know where everything is. So on both sides, it's a great feeling that people get the American dream and home ownership. They're building wealth.
Blair Schleicher Wilson, the CEO of Morris Habitat for Humanity, my guest here at 105.5 WDHA on the Jersey Magazine. I've told this story on the air a few times, Blair. When my wife and I moved into our home, we had a lot of work that we needed to do. And again, I'm relatively handy. I put up some crown molding in our living room and I put baseboard in, did some of the electrical, just enough to not be too dangerous. We wanted to put a closet in our master bedroom. And I had a book and laid everything out exactly how to do it. But it was in our bedroom was the reverse of what was being shown in the book. It took me 6 weeks to figure this out. I remember sitting on the bed looking at this, how the heck am I going to do this? Meanwhile, around the corner from where we live, they put an addition on the upstairs of their house in 2 weeks. I'm still trying to figure out this crazy closet. And once I got it done, I go, how could I have not gotten this? But it can be frustrating. But as you said, that
Right.
that feeling of accomplishment. Hey, I did this.
That's right. And you're never moving from that house, by the way, because that's your baby.
I might not. Tell us more about what Morris Habitat for Humanity does, Blair.
Well, we are an organization, and of course, we have the home building, we rehab, we build new homes. We have a home repair program where we help lower income homeowners, especially those of us who are aging. We want to stay in our homes. We put in ramps and new windows and doors for weatherization, new roofs on homes. We have a tremendous volunteer program. Folks who are retired who want to do something with their lives. I just had a volunteer come in and say, I was thanking him for volunteering. He goes, this works for my wife too, because I'm out of her hair because he recently retired, but he wants to come in and on his own terms. That's great. We operate a full-scale retail operation where we sell new and gently used building supplies, furnishing, household goods, really everything but computers and clothes to the public. And that helps to raise money for our operating, for our overhead, and even for our projects. And keeping usable stuff out of the landfills too.
We actually donated a sofa a couple of months ago, and I was blown away by the size of that operation there, Blair. It was wonderful to watch.
And we have online too. We have an e-commerce online. So we invite people to go to our website, morrishabitat.org or our morrisrestore.org and look for our online shopping. That's where we tend to put higher end things there or just interesting. We've had all kinds of interesting items go up online.
For the Restore, what's the most popular item?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say couches or dining room tables. People are looking for both. But you know what? I'm going to have to look at that. Just change household items, especially during the pandemic or when we have lower periods of people have to stay in. It's all those plates and cups and household items like that. Yeah.
Blair Schleicher Wilson, the CEO of Morris Habitat for Humanity, my guest this morning here on the Jersey Magazine at 105.5 WDHA. Morris is in the title, but you're actually part of a bigger global community that serves a lot of the counties in the area. Tell our listeners about that.
Yeah, well, our service area here locally is Morris and Middlesex counties and part of Union and Somerset. So we have a pretty wide, about 1,000 square miles. And we joined together with our colleagues here in the state. There's 17 Habitat affiliates. There's about 1,000 Habitat affiliates in the US, and we're in 70 countries worldwide. And we also tithe 10% of our unrestricted revenue, like revenue from the Restore, for instance, to global billing elsewhere around the world. And we have partnerships with Argentina and Honduras, the Philippines, and we also send volunteers there. So we're building, repairing homes, also involved with microloans to help folks, be self-sufficient and have a place to live, not just here in New Jersey, but all over the world.
How did you get involved with Morris Habitat for Humanity?
Well, this was almost 20 years ago. I had a lot of things going on in my life. I worked at another nonprofit and I thought, okay, I just hit every stressor. Why not change jobs? And got the job. And here I am. But I was I was at the housing partnership for Morris County. And we did all the first-time home buyer programs. And the executive director retired at Morris Habitat. And somebody thought, well, you're ready. You're ready to go to the next. So they took a chance.
What's the most satisfying part of your job?
Seriously, is just that the whole aspect of selling the homes to the family, because there's a lot of, sometimes it's frustration because it's like a year-long process and it's hard work. And you have your ups and downs like anything, but then at the end, they're at the closing, because many cases we keep the mortgages or we hold the mortgages for the families. So we're with them all along. But then that day comes, they're signing their papers. It's thrilling. It is really thrilling.
There was one event that we did together a couple of years ago, and it was at a local car dealership. And it was for a military family. And I think they were living in Dover. I think that's where the house was being moved to when it was finally finished. And I'm watching it, being put together. And at one point, the couple came down to take a look at it. And the looks on their faces, and they had their young child with them, was just incredible. And like, this is their future. They can see this unfolding before them. And it was really magical to watch, Blair.
Yeah, yep. And that family, they're up in Mine Hill, and he's a vet. He's a veteran, which is really great. So it's all those partnerships. Yes, WDHA and WMTR, Beasley Media has been a great partner with Morris Habitat. In fact, also other Habitat affiliates in New Jersey.
And one of the coolest things about that event, a lot of the workers were writing little notes to the family. Now, normally you wouldn't see it because it's behind the sheetrock, but because they came down and were watching part of the process, and they're walking through what will be the kitchen or a bedroom or a living room, they're able to see some of the handwritten notes on the 2x4s that are there. It was really neat to see that.
Yeah, and it's heartwarming. And they take pictures of that so they can put that in their photo albums. Yeah.
We started talking about the crossings at Randolph and your need of volunteers for that. How long is that going on again?
Well, that is going to go on through the second quarter, or probably June at the latest of 24. So we need volunteers between now and then. Big push to get 13 families or 2 buildings closed up. So our first building will close, fingers crossed, March 31st. Second building by June 30th, and then the other 2 are going to follow, first or second quarter next year.
And for WDHA listeners who want to get more involved, where should they go, Blair?
morrishabitat.org. And right there's a great volunteer application that they can get on, whether you're an individual or a group. For group, we like to keep the numbers around 10. And then our outreach coordinator will get back to them with, all the particulars, the proper dress, no flip-flops, and, what to bring, what to expect, and so forth. And she keeps in contact with people. So whether you're an individual, you're a group, sometimes people come out, they'll do like father, son, or mother, daughter, and that kind of stuff, or they come out and celebrate a birthday or with their church group or congregation. So it's really nice.
Feel free to volunteer, and you might learn a little bit that'll help you in your own home as well. MorrisHabitat.org. Blair Schleicher Wilson, the CEO of Morris Habitat for Humanity. Thanks for joining us today on the Jersey Magazine, and best of luck.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks.